All right, let's dive in. Today, we are tackling a huge topic, climate change. You could say our planet is running a fever, and we're going to break down exactly what that means, how it's happening, and, most importantly, what we can actually do about it. And it all kicks off with one pretty shocking fact. Think about that for a second. That's not just some random statistic, it's a diagnosis. It really sets the stage for our whole conversation and shows just how urgent the situation we're facing has become. So, to really get why this is happening, we have to start with the fundamentals. What even is climate change when you boil it all down?
Now, this definition has a super important detail, the timing. See, the Earth's climate has always changed, sure, but the key phrase here is primarily driven by human activities. Ever since the Industrial Revolution kicked off, we've been hitting the accelerator on these changes at a speed that is totally unprecedented.
And this is a big one. It's so important to get this distinction right. So when someone says, how can global warming be real? It was so cold today, they're mixing up weather and climate. Weather is just a snapshot of a single day. Climate, on the other hand, is like the entire photo album. And when you look at that album, you see a very, very clear long-term warming trend. Okay, to get to the real science behind this, we need to talk about something called the greenhouse effect. And honestly, the best way to picture it is just like this. Imagine a big, invisible, cozy blanket wrapped all around our planet. And here's how that blanket works. First, the sun's energy beams down to us. The Earth soaks it up and gets warmer. Then, the Earth radiates some of that heat back out towards space. But, and this is the key part in step 4, some of that heat gets trapped by those greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And that natural process is absolutely vital for life as we know it. Without that natural greenhouse effect, well, this is how much colder our planet would be. It'd basically be a frozen, unlivable rock. So the effect itself isn't the bad guy. It's actually what makes our world possible. Which, of course, brings us to the most important question of all. If this effect is natural, and if it's necessary, then what is the problem? Why is this such a crisis? Well, the problem isn't the blanket itself. It's that our human activities, our fingerprint on the planet, are making that blanket thicker and thicker and thicker, trapping way, way too much heat. And this chart just lays it out so clearly. Look at that. A massive 75% of these emissions come from burning fossil fuels. We're talking coal, oil, and natural gas. That is by far the biggest driver. Then you've got agriculture and livestock, followed by deforestation. And these are the main culprits thickening that blanket. You have carbon dioxide, CO2, which is the most common one, and it hangs around for centuries. But then you have methane and nitrous oxide. And while there's less of them, they are way, way more powerful when it comes to trapping heat, which makes them huge contributors to the problem. Okay, so we've got the cause down. Now let's get into the effects. Because this isn't just about abstract numbers in the sky. It's about a real-world chain reaction, a domino effect that we are all starting to experience. This number right here, 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming, that is the critical line in the sand that scientists talk about. Crossing this line doesn't just mean things get a little hotter. It means we risk kicking off much more extreme and maybe even irreversible changes to how our planet functions. And those changes? They're already happening. We see it in the news every day, right? Supercharged hurricanes, record-breaking droughts, and devastating floods. We see it in the polar ice caps melting, which makes sea levels rise and threatens cities all over the world. Our oceans are even becoming more acidic, which is just catastrophic for marine life, like coral reefs. It is a whole cascade of effects, all happening at once. Now, this is the stuff that really keeps scientists up at night. A tipping point is basically a point of no return. Think about it like you're leaning back in a chair. You can lean back a bit and be fine, but if you go past a certain point, that's it, you're going over, and you can't stop it. The potential collapse of something like the Amazon rainforest is one of those absolutely terrifying possibilities. So with the stakes this high, it is so important that we separate the facts from the fiction. So let's just take a minute to clear the air and bust some of the most common myths you hear about climate change. This is probably the one you hear the most. The Earth goes through cycles. It's always changing. And you know what? That part is true. But it completely misses the most critical part of the story. And here it is. The real issue isn't that the climate is changing. It's the speed. Natural changes happen at a snail's pace over thousands and thousands of years. What we're doing now is like a rocket ship.
It's happening so fast that our natural world and our societies just can't adapt in time. The speed is the crisis. Okay, here's another classic you might hear, that the science isn't settled, that all the experts are arguing about it. So let's just look at what the actual data says.
Over 97%. I mean, that is as close to a scientific certainty as you can possibly get. The debate is not happening among climate scientists. It's pretty much all happening outside of the scientific community. The consensus is rock solid, period. Okay, we've talked about the problem, the causes, and we've busted some myths. But this explainer would not be complete if we didn't talk about the most crucial part, the solutions, because they are absolutely out there. On the big, global scale, the path forward is actually pretty clear. It all starts with a huge shift to renewable energy, like solar and wind, which in a lot of places are now even cheaper than fossil fuels. It means we have to protect and regrow our forests. They're like the planet's lungs. And we need to make our farming practices much more sustainable. So what about us? What can we do? Well, our individual choices create a powerful ripple effect. It's everything from how we power our homes and what's on our plates to how we get around. And maybe most importantly, it's how we vote and use our voices to push for bigger system-wide change. Every single action adds up.
And really, this is the bottom line. This isn't some unsolvable puzzle. The science couldn't be clearer. The technology and the solutions are here. The final piece, the thing we need right now, is the collective will to actually put these solutions into motion. And that starts with every single one of us.